So I've been traveling a lot recently, and when you're traveling, when you're on the road, you tend to end up in like gas stations and fast food joints. I mean, those two places tend to be where you end up. And if you go through a lot of fast food, particularly through the drive-thru, you start to notice that the people who work in fast food, the people who work at the drive-thru, they're not always in a great mood. For whatever reason, you get a lot of surly people with attitudes. And listen, I get it, because the first job, the only real job I've ever had was actually working at McDonald's when I was 16 years old. For a little over a year, I worked at the grill in the back. And let me tell you, it gave me a completely different perspective on life. I'm always so grateful that I actually had that position, because it makes me so much more empathetic and sympathetic with people who are working in fast food, because the job is grueling. Really high stress. You have to deal with people who are complaining, rude customers all day. It's super fast-paced environment, and you're not paid anything for it. But then I think about this one McDonald's that I used to live near. A bunch of years ago, I lived near this McDonald's, and because I was always on the road, I would often stop there real quick on the way out before I started a major trip, or sometimes real quick on the way home if I hadn't eaten since the gig. This drive-thru had a guy, let's say his name was Greg, maybe a little bit older than middle-aged, and he was always in the drive-thru at this McDonald's. He was the guy taking your money. He wasn't the guy giving you food or taking your order. He was just the guy taking your money. And Greg always, without fail, was in an amazing mood. Every single time you pulled up and rolled down your window, he'd be like, "Hey, okay, so you got a snack wrap and a medium fry, a large Coke, that'll be $5.43. It's on the card, okay, credit card it is. Boom, there's your credit card, you have a nice day, sir." Greg was this beacon of positivity that it was impossible not to smile anytime you dealt with him for that brief 10 seconds or 15 seconds while you were going through the drive-thru before you got your food. And that reminds me of something I used to read in philosophy, used to study when I was a student of philosophy, which is the myth of Sisyphus, who was condemned by the gods to an eternity of rolling a boulder up a hill, all the way up a hill, and when he got to the top, the boulder would roll all the way back down. Sisyphus would have to walk back down the hill and start again. And he had to do it over and over and over and over again. It was an exercise in futility. The great existentialist philosopher Albert Camus, or Albert Camus if you prefer, Camus wrote an entire book called The Myth of Sisyphus. And in the conclusion of the book, he described Sisyphus as a hero. And he said Sisyphus, in fact, was free. Even though he had been condemned to this monotony, this doing the same task over and over and over again for the rest of eternity, it is in Sisyphus's walk back down the hill that he's able to contemplate his existence, think about how he feels about his work. Camus says the rock, the boulder, is his thing. And essentially, the point is that Sisyphus gets to decide how he feels about the boulder, how he feels about his work. He gets to contemplate his own existence, and insofar as he does that, he is free. And he can be happy. He can choose to be happy because he can make the rock his thing. And that always makes me think of Greg, this anomaly in the world of surly, annoyed, rude fast food workers who are in a service industry, a customer service industry, and yet seem uninterested in providing any decent quality of customer service. Greg, I would sometimes stop at McDonald's, even though I really didn't want McDonald's, just because I knew he was gonna be there and it was gonna brighten my day, even just for a moment, even just for a second. Greg made the drive-thru his thing. This guy's middle-aged. He's not using McDonald's like a 17-year-old kid to get their first job experience. He's not gonna climb the ladder. He's not a manager. If he was ever gonna be a manager, he would have been by this point in his life. This is Greg's career. He's working in the drive-thru at McDonald's. And yet, he has found a way to be passionate. He has found a way to make the drive-thru window something that's enjoyable and find pride in his work and share his positivity and enthusiasm with everybody who comes through there. And I think we could all be a little more like Greg. Well, thanks so much for stopping by. My name is Brian Miller. I'm a magician turned speaker. I work with organizations, educators, and students who want to create an environment where everyone feels heard, understood, and valued. I just launched this new channel. I'm gonna be putting up 2 or 3 videos a month like this one with tips and strategies and techniques for making better connections with the people you meet personally and professionally. Inspirational, motivational, but also practical. If you're new to my work, you definitely might want to check out my TEDx talk, How to Magically Connect with Anyone. I'll leave that link up here. You can check out some other popular links I have on the web, some blog posts, some articles, some social media sites to connect with me on at the description description below. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and always remember that our world is a shared experience.
Times it's all out of reach, soldier.